get your early impressions of what you've seen out of Zayne Pro? Apologies if you've talked about this at length.
No, that's okay. I think Zayne's gotten better every day. And you can see where his skill set's at. Like, his feet are elite, the way he moves along the blue line in particular, and he passes the puck like an NHL pro that he's been there before. So, as I mentioned, I feel like he is one of those players that right from the start of prospects camp and through Penticton, each game he's had, each practice he's had, he's gotten better and better. And at the end of the day, we mentioned that with Hunter yesterday. That's what you want out of them, is that they keep getting better every day.
What's the one thing that you, especially somebody who knows the position the way you do, want him to really be focused on? Is it structure? What would you have?
No, not for first game. I mean, you want to make sure that they understand how important it is to be trustworthy on the ice. That's the most important thing. You also want them to understand that when you do everything the right way, you don't ever have to force offense. And that's something that I think they're going to learn as they move here. But I don't want them focused on structure. I want them to play the game the way they know how to play it, and just remember that coaches love habits and details.
What are you looking for tonight?
We are looking for energy from our guys. We want them to play hard, and we want to make sure some of the things that we've started to incorporate, just a few little things of how we expect our guys to play away from the puck. We see some really good examples of that tonight.
Can you shed any light on what's going on with Kevin Ball? Has he been able to get on the ice at all at this point?
No, he hasn't yet, but we're expecting him to be on here shortly. So it's just we'll still classify him as day-to-day, but he'll be out there soon.
I was going to see another first rounder in Huska here tonight too. I mean, from an evolution standpoint, when you see a guy come back for his second year and get this kind of look, what does it look like from that evolution standpoint when you have to take another step, and are you seeing that from?
I have. I feel like even conditioning-wise, like you look at his results this year compared to last year, it's partly maturing and getting older and getting stronger. But you notice it on the ice. I do feel this year when I've watched him, whether it's practices or the early games they played in Penticton, he is more involved. And I think that just comes from maturity and kind of understanding what's expected of you, but also at the same time recognizing that he's a good player at this level too. So I want him just to play his game, and for him, and what I would look for out of him is to see that speed tonight and his size, because that's something that we need in our lineup is a person that can skate like he can, and someone that's got a little bit of size too.
Well, in a game like this where younger guys are going to get some power play
Yeah.
opportunity too, that might not see necessarily as preseason goes on. Obviously some offensive opportunities for guys.
For sure. I mean, that's all those young guys they typically are all drafted as offensive players, so they should be given the opportunity to show what they can do, and that's what the early games are for.
With this game tonight, is this where you start to see, or maybe even prior, separation for these younger players, where they need to separate themselves and sort of now you have to stand out versus just kind of getting here wide-eyed and figuring it out?
For sure. I mean, you start getting into these games. The early few games are a little bit for guys to play. In some cases, their first game, like Hunter's that way, Zayne's that way tonight, for examples of guys that are on the back end. But you do want to see who now will start to take a bit of a step, because it's competition. It's always going to be there, and when you're a pair of defensemen like that, you hate to say it, but they're always going to compete against each other. You love it that we have some great defensemen coming up, but you always want to make sure that you're doing things the way you have to do them, so you're separating yourself from everybody else, for sure.